They say the truth will set you free. Nobody mentions what happens when the truth shows up a year too late, after you've already buried your mother from behind bars. Rewind, 1 year earlier. The courtroom smells like old wood and broken promises. Fluorescent lights hum overhead like flies circling a corpse. The defendant sits there, sweating, trembling, looking guilty as hell, which is convenient because that's exactly what the prosecution needs him to look like. Bench trial. The defendant waived his right to a jury, probably thought 12 random citizens would be worse than one allegedly impartial judge. Poor bastard. Now it all comes down to this. One person playing judge, jury, and executioner. The holy trinity of judicial fuck-ups. 20 years. The number floats through the judge's mind like a ghost. 20 years of a man's life compressed into 2 syllables. Easy to say, harder to carry. In a jury trial, at least the guilt gets spread around. 12 people, 12 consciences to split the weight. But no, this genius picked a bench trial. So now it's all here, sitting on these shoulders like a corpse that won't stop getting heavier. Just say it. Say the damn words and go home. But the hands won't stop shaking. They're trembling beneath the robe, hidden from the gallery, from the cameras, from the defendant's eyes that scream something that sounds suspiciously like, "I didn't do this." Everyone says that, though. Every single one of them. Guilty, innocent, they all wear the same mask of desperation. The evidence is there. Circumstantial, sure, but it's there. The prosecutor laid it out like a buffet of reasonable doubt, or rather, the lack thereof. Fingerprints at the scene, no alibi worth a damn, a witness who thinks they saw him. The kind of case that's neither slam-dunked nor falling apart. The kind that sits in that nauseating middle ground where a judge earns their paycheck. Or sells their soul. Tomato, tomato. The defendant's lawyer argued well enough. Public defender. Overworked, underpaid, probably has 17 other cases this week. Did their best with what they had, which wasn't much. Sometimes the truth doesn't have enough evidence to support it. Funny how that works. The universe has a sick sense of humor. The gallery is watching. Always watching. The victim's family on one side, tears and rage painted on their faces. They want blood. They want justice. They want those two things to be the same thing, even though they rarely are. On the other side, the defendant's mother sits alone, clutching a rosary like it's a life raft in the middle of the ocean, praying to a God who apparently doesn't take calls during business hours. 20 years. The number keeps bouncing around in there like a pinball. 20 years is someone's entire childhood. 20 years is a career. 20 years is watching your parents age into unrecognizable strangers. 20 years is coming out on the other side and finding out the world moved on without you. But what if he did it? What if those hands, the ones currently gripping the edge of the defendant's table, actually committed the violence? What if letting him walk means he does it again? That thought is a knife in the gut, twisting. Damned if you do. The pulse is racing now. Thump, thump, thump like a kick drum in the chest. The courtroom is too hot. Or maybe too cold. Hard to tell when you're busy drowning in your own head. This is the job. This is what you signed up for. Put on the robe, pick up the gavel, play God for minimum wage. Well, not minimum wage, but it sure feels like it when you factor in the nightmares. Deep breath. Another one. The kind that actually doesn't help, but you do it anyway because what else is there? The defendant's lawyer used the phrase rush of judgment at least 14 times, as if there's been any rushing. Weeks of testimony, Mountains of exhibits, experts contradicting experts, the whole circus. And now it comes down to this. One person, one decision, one moment that can't be taken back. No pressure.
The funny thing about reasonable doubt is that it's not a science. It's a feeling, a vibe. And right now, the vibe is muddy. The evidence says guilty. The gut says something else, something quieter, something that gets drowned out by the prosecutor's confident smirk and the victim's family's hungry eyes. But the gut has been wrong before. The gut isn't admissible in court. 20 goddamn years. Maybe this is what they don't tell you in law school. They teach you the law, the procedure, the precedents. They don't teach you about the weight, the physical, crushing weight of holding someone's entire existence in your hands like a grenade, with the pin already pulled. They don't teach you about the nights afterward, lying awake, replaying every word, every piece of evidence, wondering if you missed something. Wondering if you wanted to miss something because the alternative was too complicated. The gavel sits there on the bench. Mahogany. Heavy. Symbolic. A prop in a play where everyone's pretending they know their lines. Just say it. The court finds the defendant guilty. The words come out. They always do. Muscle memory. Professional autopilot. The defendant's face crumples like a building in a controlled demolition. The mother's rosary hits the floor with a sound that's too quiet for anyone else to hear, but somehow deafening. The victim's family exhales collectively, a release of tension that feels less like relief and more like the moment after you vomit. Empty, raw, unsatisfying. The defendant is hereby sentenced to 20 years in the state correctional facility. The gavel comes down. Bang. The sound of finality. The sound of a door closing. The sound of trying to convince yourself you did the right thing. The defendant is led away in handcuffs. He doesn't resist, doesn't scream, just goes, like a man walking into the ocean. The courtroom empties slowly, people filing out to return to their regular lives, their regular problems, their regular certainties about right and wrong. But some of us don't get to leave. Some of us carry the courtroom around like a tumor. We go home, pour a drink, or 3, and pretend the shaking will eventually stop. We tell ourselves we followed the law. We did our job. We made the best decision possible with the information available. We lie very convincingly. Because here's the dark joke at the heart of the justice system. We call it justice because educated guessing with life-ruining consequences doesn't fit on the letterhead. We built this elaborate structure of rules and procedures and robes and gavels to make it look like we know what we're doing, to make it look certain, sacred, right. But underneath it all, we're just people. Flawed, tired, scared people trying not to fuck up too badly. Trying to sleep at night. Trying to believe that the weight of the gavel means more than wood hitting wood. 20 years. God help us all. Chapter 2. 1 year later. The envelope arrives on a Tuesday. DNA evidence. New testing. Irrefutable proof. The defendant, the one who got 20 years, the one who's currently learning what the inside of hell looks like, is innocent. Completely, utterly, devastatingly innocent. His job? Gone. His wife? Remarried. His mother? Dead. Died 6 months into his sentence. Probably from a heart that couldn't handle being shattered into that many pieces. His life? Evaporated. Turned to ash. Deleted. Like a file no one needs anymore. And here's the punchline. There's no undo button. No Control-Z for catastrophic judicial failure. Just a quiet apology from the state, a settlement that'll never be enough, and the knowledge that somewhere, right now, a man is walking out of prison into a world that doesn't have a place for him anymore. The hands start shaking again. They haven't really stopped. The bottle comes out earlier these days. The dreams are worse. The defendant's face, no, the innocent man's face, shows up uninvited, asking questions that don't have answers. You did your job. You followed the evidence. You couldn't have known. Sure. That's what you tell yourself. That's what everyone tells you. That's the lie that lets you keep wearing the robe, keep picking up the gavel, keep playing God. But late at night, when the courtroom is empty and the only judge is the one in the mirror, you know the truth. You gambled with a man's life and lost. The house always wins, and the house is indifferent to suffering. Welcome to justice. Mind the gap between what we promise and what we deliver. It's a hell of a drop.